this chair is ghetto. I'm gonna give y'all some couple little seconds to get up in here, only because the notifications be late. It's hot in here, so I hope I don't be looking all extra sweaty. Hi, Najee. Gina. Give you about a 3-minute grace period. Y'all got 2 more minutes. It's very hot in here. This is my little pastor cloth as I preach my sermon on this day of the divine feminine. Okay. Hey y'all, come on in, sit down, bring your drinks, bring your other things that you need. I need a window seat because I'm high. I'm a window seat and I am next to me. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I think YouTube gave y'all. It is Najee, and I'm directly in front of it. I don't know. I guess I could open another one. You can see how. And the fan is on. If y'all here, please like the video. Please like the live, y'all. If y'all are here, I'm about to get into the live. About to get into the reading as well as I do every Saturday. So, hello and welcome to Savvy Saturday. If you are here, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Doing so does put some respect on my algorithm, which means that it pushes the video, pushes the live channel to other people who may also be interested in this kind of content. Okay, trigger warning. Today's topic is going to touch on some subjects that are sensitive, that are triggering to some. If you watch the Divine Feminine message, then you already know this, and this is likely why you are here. Okay. Super chats. If you would like me to pull cards for you specifically at the super chat portion of the live, please make sure that you send the super chat It is located at the very bottom of your live, and it's the $sign. Click it, choose your donation amount, and ask your question. Do keep in mind that your question, your donation will directly affect the depth of your reading. Okay. If you would like to book a personal reading, if you would not like to have your reading done here on YouTube, you can always book at SavySentient.com, and I do have some openings left here in May. Okay, so take a gander at the website. But let's go ahead and get into the reading. Okay. Leslie, Kid, Sons, Sets, Clineve, bien pour le traitement pour le cancer, Tampouille, un commun de bien, que nous avons fait un problème, n'aime pas vraiment, pas de confiance, même sans façon de conscience, mais merci, Emergence, merci. All right. Spirit, what is the overall energy of this reading for the collective, those who are here and those who will be joining us? Overall energy of this reading, those that are here, those who will be joining us. Interesting. All right, so the overall energy. It feels appropriate for today's topic. It is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords energy in the upright represents fighting a losing battle, okay? This is being manipulated or manipulating, okay? In the reverse, this could be no longer fighting a battle, pulling out of the conflict, no longer entertaining it. Swords energy is mental. So for a lot of us, this could be a mental battle in reference to today's topic. A lot of us may, dealing with this quietly and mentally. And that's exactly why this topic was important, so that you won't have to continue to suffer in silence, so that you don't have to continue to, be quiet. All right, sweep it under the rug. Okay. Nine cards, please, Spirit. Boy. Five of Swords in the reverse is the first card that comes out. Thank you, Spirit, for the confirmation. Yeah, this is definitely about freeing yourself from the mental burdens that you have endured, okay? Sun card. Clarity. Freedom. Okay? Abundance. Growth. Happiness. I love that. I love that so much. Freedom. This is you freeing yourself. Okay. I see Spirit gonna be with the shits today. Breakthroughs. Ace of Swords energy. Some of you all are gonna receive breakthroughs. Some of you all are breaking your silence. This is a break in communication. Success. Victory. Okay. Six of Wands, again, success, victory, recognition. For a lot of you, that message, the divine feminine message, helped you recognize certain things. Most importantly, for a lot of you, that it wasn't your fault, that what happened is not something that you should be blaming yourself for, okay? Emperor. The Emperor energy is the divine masculine. This is fatherhood, paternal energy. This is a very powerful energy, whether you are male or female, to walk in. This is taking control of the situation. This is finding solutions. Okay. As a divine feminine, each of us have both sides, whether we're masculine or feminine. We all have both sides. We have masculine energy and feminine energy that we walk in. So standing in your power, being dominant, dominating the situation, not letting it control you anymore. And that's at the center of your reading. Three of Pentacles, collaboration and teamwork. All right, finding your freedom in sisterhood, finding your freedom and working together and working with others and supporting others and being supported by others. Okay. If you're here, say hello in the live in the box, please. Let me know that you're here. Let me see who all over there. All right. See, this is why I don't be liking the windows open. Allergies. All right. Eight of Wands. Communication, progress. All right. It feels like having this communication, speaking your truth, speaking up, is going to lead you to some type of progress. Queen of Cups, healing. It's going to lead to quick healing. And again, with Temperance, the major arcana, healing. Okay, so this energy, if you're here, please make sure that you like the video, share the live for someone who can use it. Let's walk through the spread. Five of Swords, once again, is coming out of conflict for us in this situation as it pertains to tonight's message. This is mental conflict, understanding, okay, that with the Sun energy here, this was not your fault. This had nothing to do with you. You are getting clarity in the situation. You are getting freedom from the situation. Ace of Swords energy, there is a breakthrough in communication. A lot of you are breaking your silence. And congratulations to any of you all who emailed me your story or who called me, if you know me, to tell me your story. You have taken the first step. You've taken a very big and necessary step in freeing yourself from the burdens, from your mental burdens. Okay, Six of Wands energy, recognizing that, you know, again, this isn't your fault, being recognized. With the Emperor energy here, taking your power back, being in control, finding a solution, finding the answers. All right. With the Three of Pentacles and having sisterhood, having a community to share your story with. Eight of Wands, to speak up and to help progress your healing journey with the Queen of Cups and the Temperance, to bring balance back into your life. I don't feel like anything needs to be clarified, but at the bottom of the deck, we do have the Ace of Wands, which is new opportunities, new doors opening, again, a reclaiming of your power, a beginning, a new beginning, and feeling powerful once again. Some of you all may not have felt power or powerful. A lot of you may have felt that your power was taken from you. And this, what we are doing here today, is a way for you to reclaim that power. Okay? What is the advice, please, Spirit, for the collective? I see the Moon card. That's your hopes and your fears being suppressed. Stop that. Ace of Pentacles. So we have the Ace of Pentacles energy, which is a new beginning in your stability. I know, Hazel. It's very ghetto. She over here growling like, what's up? Okay, so this is a new beginning in your stability, in your foundations. And I feel like that's what's happening by you speaking your truth, by you sharing your story. The Nine of Swords and the Four of Cups. The Nine of Swords is that anxiety, that mental anguish, mental stress. And the Four of Cups is that apathy and disinterest. Okay? With the Son of Wands. All right? The Son of Wands energy is taking brave, heroic action towards the things that you want, the life that you want. All right? At the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords energy is that rest, recovery, and meditation. All right? So together, the advice seems to be to get ready for a new beginning. You have the Ace of Wands here at the bottom of the first deck as well. A new beginning. One in which you are stable, one in which you are reclaiming your power, one in which you are saving yourself from the stress, from the anxiety, from the disinterest, or apathy that maybe the trauma has created for you, and reclaiming your life, reclaiming your power, setting yourself up for a new and powerful beginning. Okay, so that is your advice and that is your reading. Let's get into the topic of this live. All right. All right. So in the Divine Feminine reading, I discussed how on this particular night, I wanted to pull cards from my African Goddess Rising Oracle. Okay. And typically when I pull cards from this deck, I only pull one and I ask for the guidance of a goddess, which goddess would like to speak to me on that particular day and what would she like to say. I'm sorry if y'all can hear my neighbors. I don't know why. I don't know why that. Okay. But anyways, on this particular night, Spirit led me to pull more cards. They told me, they showed me pulling a full spread, which would be 3 cards. And so I did. Okay. When I did, the cards that I got were Speak Up, Mame Kumba Bang. Okay. They were the Speak Up card. Also, Allah, which is a card about grief. And then the Sauche card. Okay. Sauche is the Hottentot Venus. If y'all know her story, you know that it was extremely tragic, extremely messed up, and completely embodies exactly what we're talking about today. Altogether, if you all want the full, like the in-depth of that message, go back and watch the Divine Feminine if you haven't already. But altogether, what this is saying is to speak up about the things that are causing trauma in your life, that are causing issues for you mentally, the things that you were told that you should never speak about, the things that were swept under the rug, the things that people told you to just get over. Okay. When I read the full meaning of each one of these cards, I understood in that moment that these messages were not just for me. Can y'all hear them? I'm gonna have to just close the windows and be in this bitch hot, because I can't turn the air on, because then y'all won't be able to hear me. But once I saw the meaning of all of these cards and just really sat with that, I realized, and it wasn't even a very long time, I realized immediately that those messages were not just for me, and that the reason why they wanted me to pull a full spread is because I had a message to deliver to the collective. Like, it was not just for me. Okay, so that's what I did, and this is why we got the Divine Feminine reading instead of the love readings at that time. That's when the love readings were due. So, saying all that to say, in that time in which I received these readings, again, if you go back to the Divine Feminine and watch it, I discussed how we were currently in the period of time for the Scorpio blood moon. That blood moon is an eclipse as well, and how Pluto and Mercury were both in retrograde, and how these things were affecting uh, this energy. So, in short, all of these energies together are essentially bringing all the things from the depths of hell, from the depths of your um, being, the things that you have suppressed. They brought it all back to the surface. A lot of you all may have found yourself thinking about things that you didn't want to think about, having to face things that you did not want to address, that you did not want to face. The things that people told you to be quiet about, your spirit was not allowing you to be quiet about. Okay? And that's what that energy, brought about. I understand, and I have understood for some time, that the reason that a lot of this is coming back around, coming up to the surface, is because there is an awakening, there is a re-emergence. I know I called this video Emergence, but this is actually a re-emergence of the divine feminine energy. Okay? We are currently in a time where the world is being run by masculine energy, and if I must say so, you guys are doing a terrible fucking job. But that is because the divine feminine energy is disrespected and suppressed, and for as long as I've been alive, I'm not, that old, I'm only 36, but for as long as I've been alive, we've been made to be second class and afterthoughts, and this is throughout media, this is throughout religion, that we are, walked over, disrespected, and the higher powers, the divine feminine energy, is tired. These goddesses are tired. The Orisha, the Loa, the higher celestial beings are tired of the bullshit. Okay? And I've known for like several months that there is some type of shift happening with divine feminine energy, that there's a reemergence happening. But there are certain things that have highlighted this for me. One of those things being, and this is not something I want to talk about in length or discuss or debate in the comments, who's right and who's wrong, but I just want to let you all know how this was highlighted, what this showed me. So one of the things that were highlighted this for me was the Oscar situation with Will Smith. For a long time now, Black women, we have been saying, protect Black women, protect Black women, protect Black women. And in this moment, regardless of how we feel about the Black woman that Will chose to protect, he stood up for a Black woman. A Black woman who, as it appeared to us, had been suffering from a health condition, okay? And in that moment, Will did what he thought was necessary to protect Black women. All of these years leading up to this, we've been just talking, and talking has gotten us nowhere. So Will did something, and he was torn apart by the media. He was torn apart by non-melanated people. And I'm seeing this in the comments, and I don't like to comment or interact with media, or like I'm not really into what celebrities are doing. But Will does have a special place in my heart. But more importantly, I'm looking at the comments, and I'm looking at how he's being torn down not only by non-people of color, people of not of color, um, but by men, by black men. And it occurred to me that this is because for as long as I've known, for as long as I've been alive and have experienced, that this is how they were raised. When we had our incidents as children, when that funny uncle, and I don't really like that term, but it lets you know who I'm talking about, um, did whatever they did to whoever they did it to, and it was swept under the rug, that set the pace, that set an example for our little brothers and our little sisters and our boy cousins, that they could harm women and it will be okay. And that if they see harm done to women, that they shouldn't speak about it. And when one finally does, we see a whole bunch of black men not standing up for Jada, but tearing down the black man who stood up for Jada. And what this told me was that we're in a very scary place. We're in a very scary place where we can be assaulted and abused, and instead of being protected, the hero in the situation is torn to pieces, torn to bits. And then the woman is still perpetually abused. Another situation that has highlighted this is, of course, the notorious Kevin Samuels, who's made a whole career on being divisive, of course, and stroking the male ego while simultaneously destroying black women. Who, upon his death, I saw so many women, especially, just unbothered and not necessarily celebrating, but just like, oh well, eat a cookie. Like, what other way should we feel? And then I see other comments from black men defending him, going hard for him. Y'all shouldn't celebrate death. And I don't know, y'all know me, I have other views about death. I don't view death in the same way. So I honestly felt like death was too good and a blessing for him. But I seen such an uproar for this man who was abusive and potentially a predator of children. I don't know if I've shared the video. I don't think I could share it here, but I mean, if you know, you know, where essentially he was telling a black woman, if your child complains to you about boyfriend, daddy, uncle, whoever, looking at them or touching them, you should maintain that relationship and not believe the child. No high value man thinks that way. But, you know, his value is based on finances. It's not based on moral value or character. Because if it was, he wouldn't even been able to make a video saying things like that. And the way that men ran to his side and ran to his support and wanted to attack anybody who didn't care that he was gone, it again highlights so much about the way that women are viewed, how we are received, and how much we are loved and cared about by, you know, men, masculinity. In a lot of our stories, our brothers, our fathers, Our uncles, cousins didn't protect us. And in a lot of our stories, they were the perpetrators. And the divine feminine is tired. The final thing highlighting, putting a disgustingly rotten little cherry on top of all of this is Roe versus Wade. Next month, last I checked, they're going to make a decision. One of the last articles that I read on this said that the government was preparing for violence when they announced the decision. The last time the government prepared for violence when making a decision had something to do with Trump, didn't it? And the attack on the White House by civilians. So I think we know what the decision is going to be. And with that decision being that they overturn it, that means that the states are going to have the power to determine whether or not abortion is legal in their own state. Question is, why are men making decisions for women's bodies? Why do they feel so entitled? Because they've always been entitled. They've always invited themselves to our bodies and to our lives. There's so many examples of it. The female castration that happens in Africa. Entitlement. How are you entitled to do whatever you want to a child to make her more desirable, more acceptable to a man when he's ready to marry her? The divine feminine is tired. But what about what about women who harm women in favor of men, aka the pick-me's? What about women who disrespect divine feminine energy? What about women who help predators, protect predators, marry known predators? What about them? They have a destiny as well. And they're going to have to answer for these things as well. They're not exempt by virtue of being a woman or embracing feminine energy. They've chosen their side and they've chosen to disrespect. They've chosen to disrespect divine feminine energy, and they have not been overlooked. They have not been forgotten. And they also will be held accountable. All of these women defending Kevin Samuels, saying that he changed lives and he fixed things and helped people get married to predators by tearing down their self-esteem further. Because you would have to have low self-esteem to go to this man who's sitting on this pedestal and dictating to you what your value is, only to find out that he died with nothing. there's a GoFundMe for his fume. Very high value, Kevin. Moving on. Recently, I watched A Dark History. And I don't know if y'all know Bailey Sarian, the queen of murder, makeup, and mysteries and makeup. But if you're a true crime junkie like I am, then you likely know her. But she now has a series called Dark History, and there's been a few episodes that kind of speak to this. I believe she covered Puerto Rico, where the government essentially invited themselves to the bodies of Puerto Rican women to test birth control. If you don't know that story, look into it. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. She recently did a story about powerful women through history. That was this week's video, I believe. I put it in the description box. If I can find Puerto Rico, I'll put it in there as well. But basically, she's highlighting all these accomplishments, even Janet Jackson and the Super Bowl incident. But all of these high power women who did all of these amazing things, and how either their accomplishments were diminished or how they shouldered the blame for shit like Janet did, even though Justin, you was there. You ripped the damn shit off her titty, like, but then ran from the accountability and left her to bear it all by herself. But she highlights how, like, even the Salem witch trials, that was about disrespecting and murdering women that you didn't want to be held accountable for. Like, these men were like cheating on their wives, and in order to avoid being caught or being, fussed at or whatever, they would just accuse them of being a witch. This has happened many times throughout history. Somebody's dog is in trouble. But yeah, so definitely look into that video. Again, it's in the bio, and I'll also put Puerto Rico there if I can find it, but it's easily Googleable. There's a couple of YouTubers who have covered it, and it's messed up. It's essentially the Tuskegee experiment, but instead of gonorrhea, syphilis, it's birth control. Okay, and it's in Puerto Rico, and it's on women. I don't know why they feel so entitled to Black bodies, but especially Black women's bodies. But here we are in 2020, still experiencing the same shit that has been happening for hundreds of years now. And the divine feminine is fucking tired. 3838 when I looked up. That's 11:11. 8, 9, 10, 11. 11:11. Confirmation. The divine feminine is fucking tired. And they've been showing me 11:11 all day. Showed it to me in channeling. Like she's fucking tired. The divine feminine energy is uprising. All right. So let's move on to the stories. 4 people reached out to me. Only 2 of them gave me permission, express permission to tell their story via email. One other person did as well, but I don't have it via email, and I wanted it in her own words. I didn't want to add or take anything away. I wanted her to tell her story in the way that she wanted to tell her story. So I have 2 stories. In the same energy of the first reading, or the first message, I'm going to lead by example. We're not going to be hypocritical out here. So when I was trying to figure out which story I would tell, it occurred to me that in itself is so fucked up that I have to decide which story to tell. Why would I have more than one? Why would I have one is the question. But the fact that I have to decide which essay story I'm going to tell y'all in itself is disturbing as fuck. And I'm sure that those of you all who told me your story have more as well. And again, that's fucked up. So the story I'm going to tell is this. I was maybe 3rd or 4th grade, old enough to know, but not old enough to know, if that makes sense. Like, I knew what was happening, and I feel like it's because it happened before. And by 3rd or 4th grade, like, I've already been exposed to things that I should not have been exposed to. But this is the story. My mother had been in a relationship with a man for a very long time. It's probably one of her longest relationships that I know of. And many people knew this man. Many people called him uncle, even though my mom was not married to him. Many people, treated him like my mother's husband, even though he was not. This man basically raised my little brother. And my little brother grew up thinking that this man was his father for a very, very big chunk of his life. Okay? So at one point in Chino, California, my mom had to get a hysterectomy. I don't know if it was by choice. I don't know if it was a medical situation, but all I know is she went to go get a hysterectomy and left me, my sister, and my brother at home. Okay? Like, what's the harm in that? I'm going to be in the hospital for a couple days. Watch these kids. While she was in the hospital, one night, he decided that he was going to give us, me and my sister, Dimetap in an effort to put us to sleep. But alas, it did not work. Later that night, he came into the room and we had bunk beds, and I guess he checked to see if my sister was asleep. And then he made his way, he's a tall man, and like looked and like tried to see if I was asleep, like touched me, see if I was asleep. And I felt him, I'm trying to make sure I can say this without being too descriptive because I don't want to, get dinged, but essentially putting his hands where they didn't belong. I suppose my undergarments were too restrictive because he left the room and he came back with a knife. And I felt the knife against my skin. I felt the cold of the knife against my skin, and he cut my undergarments off. When he did that, pretending to be asleep, I rolled over towards the wall. The bunk beds were against the wall, so he wouldn't have been able to reach me on the other side, and just acted like I was still asleep. Okay? After that, he left out. So I don't know what I was thinking in my 7-year-old brain, 8-year-old, 9, somewhere in that age range. But I got down from my bunk bed and I went into my mom's room and I just told him, like, my undergarments fell off. I know they didn't fall off, but I don't know, Gemini kids, they just have a way of processing things. And I guess that was my way of telling him, like, this happened and I know this happened. And then I don't remember if it was that night. I think it was that same night. Um, and he had just came out the shower, or maybe it was the next day. But he had come out the shower and he called me and asked me to put lotion on him when he came out the shower. Um, I don't remember doing it. I don't know. I think maybe I just left and went back in my room. I don't know what my response was, but I don't remember doing it. However, that doesn't mean that I didn't do it, because one thing that I've learned about trauma is that when we are traumatized, our brain will block out certain events in order to protect us from the trauma that we incurred. Okay? It is a human protective mechanism. But I don't remember him ever doing anything after that. My mom was back in the hospital, all that. I do know that he was not in contact with his daughter, or that his, like, when his kids would come over, it would only be his two sons. It would never be his daughter. And I don't know if he ever did anything to her, but I've always suspected it. And I always suspected that that's why we never knew her. Maybe 2 years later, him and my mom were starting to fall apart, fall out, whatever the case is. And like, I watched her like begging him to stay with her and like holding on to his leg while he's trying to leave and walk out the door and all of this. And I remember telling her what happened. And that didn't seem to sway her from wanting him. Like, that didn't matter, because she needed her man. And I just always thought that was kind of fucked up and weird. But, you know, later, the events that I describe in the Divine Feminine reading with my uncle happened very shortly after that. She got with some other man. She began to get on drugs and all that. When she went to rehab, she had my uncle living there with us, knowing his history. He's a known, you know, SAer. And still, I mean, I guess in her altered state, there's not really proper judgment. But she left me there, and then the events of that video happened. So several times of dropping the ball, aka your kids in the laps of predators. But yeah, that's my story. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the next story. I haven't read either of these yet, so I'm hearing them with you. But I hope that me telling your story will be cathartic for you, will help you feel like you are not being silenced anymore, that you're no longer being silenced. So again, I'm going to read these anonymously. And I'm going to try to edit them if they have words in them that I cannot say on the YouTube, okay? And no, it is not too long. It says, I felt alone as a child. I grew up in a home where my basic needs were met, but nurturing definitely didn't live there. I was talked at and never listened to. I grew up in church where little girls were taught purity culture and demonized for any little curiosities about sex or their bodies. I was about 9 or 10 when I was first violated by a male cousin. It started off with tickling and then touching. The crazy thing about it was I thought it was a good feeling. That's not crazy. You're a growing girl, your hormones are happening. So just to let you know. How could I like someone violating me? But I realized the lack of love from my dad made me crave male attention, no matter how damaging it was to me. Throughout the years, most of my encounters with guys were both physical and verbally abusive. I hated what puberty did to my body. I developed at an early age, and being in middle school with boys that felt entitled was a horror show. Relatable. I was hit on by grown ass men and touched and hit by disrespectful boys. High school was no different. Cheating for my mom's boyfriends was the bare minimum. I gave all I gave my all while they took so much of me. Oh, cheating from my boyfriends. Okay, was the bare minimum. I thought you said my mom's boyfriend. Sorry. Cheating was my from my boyfriends was the bare minimum. I gave my all while they took so much of me. I already said it, but sex was horrible. But because craved male attention, I just took it. My pain was hidden between faking it and dissociating myself with my body. I would lie to my friends on how good it felt just to not deal with the embarrassment of not being pleasured while I wasted my time having sex with guys that didn't even care about my pleasure. My trauma response was to freeze whenever someone touched me unwarranted. Half of my thoughts were wishing that someone would protect me or defend me, but no one was there. Even having a sisterhood of support seemed like it was just in movies. I was taught to compete with other women instead of embrace and love, and to gossip instead of being a listening ear. I was called fast when my shirts were form fitting and yelled at for talking to boys. No one sat me down and explained anything about my body, just passive conversations about not getting pregnant. When I got pregnant, I was met with judgment. No one there to comfort me or to teach me how to be a mother. But as I got older, I realized how much pain I was in and started to heal myself. I realized I didn't have to deal with any of the stuff that was taught to me. My life means so much more to me now, and even though I still have trauma to heal, I'm happy to be in a better place in my life. Well, that is a beautiful ending. But yeah, that entitlement, same thing happened to me in high school. And I won't say so much in high school. The boys at my high school were pretty okay, but middle school, when you have girls who develop early, I don't know why, but this is, again, what they're taught. This is what they're seeing at home. They're seeing their mothers allowing themselves to be disrespected in front of them. So why can't I disrespect women? My mom seems to like it. She never stops this person from doing it. Um, you know? So it's a learned behavior, but that doesn't make it right. The next story. Um, Growing up in foster care, I wasn't allowed to have unsupervised visitation with my mother. My cousin, who I looked up to at the time, stepped in while living in another state to allow me to visit during extended vacations such as summer, winter, and spring breaks. She had a long-term boyfriend who she shared three kids with who she shared three kids who I absolutely adored. I looked up to them like a model family I always wanted. I was 11 at the time of one summer break that left me and my cousin's boyfriend alone a lot. The kids were in school, and I had nothing better to do than to sit and play on the PlayStation with my cousin's boyfriend. I don't remember how it happened, but one day I found myself kissing him, then escalating to his eggplant emoji in my mouth, then to him asking if I ever had sex before. I had not. So he put his fingers, there was no pleasure in it for me. I didn't even know how to react or what sexual pleasure. was supposed to feel like, so I just lay there. A little part of me enjoyed the attention, the special attention. We went out for food. He attempted to teach me how to drive. Almost, almost fucked up his transmission. But it was the special attention that I received. Part of me liked it. A part of me didn't feel like nothing was wrong other than he was my cousin's long term living boyfriend. It proceeded through the month that I was there, him coming into the room asking me to hook him up. At one point, I started to get annoyed. I'm cleaning the house, babysitting my cousins, and pleasuring a man I know and hear has sex with my cousin. But for whatever reason at the time, I thought it was okay. No one was going to find out. My foster parents can't pop up and take me away. I didn't have a father who was going to whoop my ass. My brothers treated me like their biracial stepchild to the family consistently discarded. The family consistently discarded. So here I was, 11 years, for the first time, thinking I knew what love meant and felt like someone actually liked me enough to touch me. He wasn't beating on me like the boys at school. He wasn't fighting me like the girls in school. He wanted to be in my company and loved on me like I never experienced in my life. It wasn't until I was 19 and had a niece by a mother who has close ties with that man. Okay. It wasn't until I was 19 and had a niece by a mother who has close ties with that man that I decided to tell my mother. Her words were, I knew something was going on and you wouldn't tell me. We have never spoken about it again. My little cousins have gone on to have little girls of their own, and I'm scared for them. For years, to this day, at 36 years old, I have struggled to say anything to anyone else because at this point, who cares what's going to happen? How can I prove it? Who would actually listen? And how many lives will I destroy with this news? My family is already in shambles with nothing much left to it. Why would I want to put my ill, struggling aunt through such heartache? My cousin and I have been on bad terms for years, so that won't do nothing but get worse. For me, I have accepted the failed responsibility of not speaking up as an 11-year-old child. I have no grown adult I had no grown adult at the time I could trust. The two people I trusted immediately were no longer in my corner. One continued to penetrate and sodomize, oh Lord, every chance he got. And the other felt like it was okay to leave me alone with him for hours without picking up the signs. There were definitely close calls, and I know she suspected something, but she never asked or spoke of it. As a racist, jealous Hispanic woman towards a biracial child who was comfortable enough to call an black racial slur, I have always wondered if she felt I deserved it and didn't give two fucks to wonder. Being that he was a repeat felon with a record and she had 3 young kids to raise with him. I guess we'll never know. That's where I'm at with it, as I have moved past it and have placed my own boundaries on my child, on what is acceptable and not acceptable, when ensuring he has the space to speak, feel, and speak safely. Okay. I'm sorry if I messed that up. One part of that, hi Lily, one part of that really stuck out for me was you feeling like you had a responsibility as an 11-year-old. But that's so fucking common that like we don't get to enjoy childhood, that we have responsibilities. What? That we have responsibilities outside of chores. Why should we have any responsibility But that's what you felt. That's what was placed on you at 11 years old, not the person doing it to you. They don't have any responsibility. Not any other adults who picked up the signs and stayed quiet, because I know good and well that there are several adults in my situations who knew or felt or suspected, especially in those situations where the person already has a history. This person already been convicted of stuff. In my situation, this person is known in my family for what he's done to a very specific child, but it obviously didn't stop there because it crept on over to me. I had some support in my best friend, Zakia, and in a boy that I met online. We still friends to this day. But the very next day, I was told that night, don't say nothing. It'll break up the family. And again, that's putting responsibility. I feel like that's the responsibility that you are dealing with. Don't do it because it's going to break up the family. You spoke a lot of times about about other people's lives and how it would affect them. And while that's honorable, what about how it's affecting you and how it's affecting your life and how it could possibly affect other children in his path currently? But the day after my situation, that little boy I was talking to on the phone, he was like, you gotta say something. And I went across the street to my friend and I told her, and she told her mom. We called my family in Philadelphia, like we told everybody. But when someone has a known history of being a predator, still to this day, I struggle with why they're still allowed to come to family functions. Why are we still playing spades with them at the family functions? Why are they still considered family? Why are they not exiled? There are certain places in this world today that if you are found out to be an SAer, you will be publicly muffin cap, peeled back blue, with no remorse. So why, especially in this country, is it so supported? I've noticed since Kevin Samuels, since I've had these realizations about how this is ingrained and taught, and it's in our family, in our boy cousins, brothers, our men folk in our family are taught to look the other way and sweep it under the rug. I have made a few posts in reference to this on Facebook, and guess how many likes? Guess how much interaction? 0. I saw a post on Instagram the other day that said, what generational curses are you breaking? And I said, I'm breaking the generational curse of not speaking up for the little girls in the family who are getting abused, and for everyone who's turning their eyes away and sweeping it under the rug. I'm breaking that generational curse. Not a like, not a comment, not nothing. Because even now, it makes people uncomfortable. Even now, y'all don't want to talk about it. But it's such a major issue. But women are not respected. And they are damn sure not protected. But we are the first to protect. When Black Lives Matter, we're the first to risk our bodies and our lives in protests. When so-and-so get locked up, we're the first y'all call to put the house on the line to get him out on bail. Like, we're the first for everything, but we are always disrespected. And the divine feminine is fucking tired. So, if y'all have super chats, you can send them. If not, that's fine. But the other day, while I was thinking about this, I got a download and I got a visitation from a specific spirit. And I was thinking about how I wanted justice for myself, justice for other women and little girls who have been put in my situation, and how I wanted these predators to pay. And this spirit came and said, if that's what you want, just ask for it. And so that's what I intend to do after this live. Okay. I'm going to do a ritual for anyone who wants to be involved. If you would like to be a part of this ritual, if you would like justice, send me your name and your birthday in my DMs on Instagram. The link is in my description box, but it's Savy Sentient on Instagram. And I'm going to ask. The Divine Feminine is tired, so I know that I'm supported. This spirit literally told me, if that's what you want, ask for it. So I know that I'm supported. So many things have been happening with this eclipse energy, with just spiritually. A lot of us are being upgraded. Feminine energy especially is being upgraded. We are being changed. We're being prepared for a new regime. And what happens next is going to shock a lot of non-believers of spirituality. They're going to be at a loss for words. But a lot of us have already been knowing what's about to happen. And a lot of us have been feeling it and sensing it, and may have even noticed certain increases in abilities psychically. Y'all intuition might be extra fleeky these days because we're being prepared. The Divine Feminine is reclaiming the earth. All right, so I do have a couple of resources I want to share with you all. One was recommended to me by my friend. She's the queen of resources. Ricky, thank you. She recommended Therapy for Black Girls. This is therapyforblackgirls.com. And it is run by a Black woman. I believe all the therapists are Black, and the reasoning is because while a therapist of any color can help, there are just certain nuances about growing up as a Black child, having Black experiences that they're not going to understand. There's a cultural disconnect. And so for a lot of us, what we need is someone who had a shared experience outside of being a therapist. Saw the same things that we saw, came from the same places that we came from. Okay? Mad annoying. For what? Y'all don't say. So I really feel like this was a great resource. And I did link that in the description box. They also have a Therapy for Black Girls podcast on the website that you all can look into, listen to a few episodes there. But I didn't exclude nobody, okay? Also, the National Institute for Mental Health has Lifeline. So Lifeline is somewhere that you can call if you are feeling mentally unstable, if you're feeling like you want to unalive yourself. This is a resource that you can call. But they also have, therapy and things like that available to you online as well. So I linked both of those in the description box below. Do y'all have any questions? Is there any comments, anything that anyone would like to share here before I sign off? Thank you for everyone. It was just one 10 10 when I looked up. Heavy on the angel numbers recently. Y'all might have noticed that as well. Something is happening. But yeah, if you all want to be a part of this ritual, send me your name and your birthday. This is a ritual for justice, a ritual for peace. I don't work with any like demonic energies or anything like that. This is a law that can get us justice and can get us peace and can make things right. This is a higher energetic, higher vibrational energetic law. So yeah, let me know. DM me on Instagram. If there's nothing more, thank you all so much for joining me tonight for this Savvy Saturday. Thank you all to everyone who shared their stories, whether I shared them publicly or not. I hope that speaking, saying your piece helped, but I also want you all to not stop speaking. I don't want to be the first and only person that you ever tell. Tell those people's families. Let people know who these people are. Expose them. Oh, thank you, Lily. Expose them. Don't be afraid to tell your story. Write it in a blog, write it in a book, post it wherever, make TikToks about it, but don't stay quiet, because that's how this is perpetuated, because too many people stay quiet, because you were told that you had to stay quiet, and it is not your fault that you did, but you've grown now. You don't have to stay quiet no more. And hopefully by speaking up, you're protecting other little baby divine feminine energies coming up in this world that will grow up to be, you know, the high priestess, the mothers, the nurturers, the woman warriors. Okay. So yeah. Hazel, we almost done. That's all I have for you all tonight. Thank you once again for joining me. If you have not already, please watch the Divine Feminine reading or message. I will see if I can link it into this as well, just in case you're catching it on the replay. But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here and start working on this ritual. I'm going to pull up on TikTok a little later as well to do a few readings if I'm not extremely drained. But that's the plan. All right. So as always, I'm wishing you all love and light and everything right. And I will see y'all Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the lunch break breakdown. All right. Okay. Bye, y'all. Thank you.